House Bill 2764A, and I will ask Representative Owens to come up and tell us all about, well, first we'll have Whitney tell us, and then we'll have, well, we have two fabulous people here. We have Representative Owens and Senator Sollman.
Thank you, Chair Taylor, Vice Chair Bonham, members of the committee. This is House Bill 2764A. It came to you from the House with 60 aye votes, brought to you by Representative Owens and Senator Sollman. There is a -A5 amendment on OLIS for you. The -A5 amendment, for the most part, replaces the measure, and this bill establishes the Missing Endangered Person Alert System. Thank you.
Okay, so, you know, our custom is that we take, you know, House people here as our guests first. And so, so we're going to go ahead and call on you, Representative Owens.
Thank you, Chair Taylor, Vice Chair Bonham, members of the committee. For the record, Mark Owens, House District 60, serving 37% of the southeast corner of the state. We bring forward to you House Bill 2764A, which, as El Pro said, passed the House with unanimous support. Only something that comes to the Senate side needs amendments after it passes the House with unanimous support. Just joking. The amendments.
I think you're here to ask for our approval. So we'll go ahead.
And Senator Bonham will say, "Well, it came out of the House. Well done."
Senator Sollman, would you like to have a little chat?
No, the amendments actually make the bill better. And I'll let Senator Sollman talk about the amendments. I'm just going to talk about the origin of the bill rather quickly. This bill came from Christine Hood. Christine Hood was following Michael Vaughn. Michael Vaughn got abducted in 2021 outside of Oregon, right in Idaho. And they couldn't issue an Amber Alert because Amber Alerts are authorized through all the states. But there's a lot of check boxes they have to do to issue an Amber Alert. What happened with Michael was not a good situation. If there could have been a missing or endangered report put out through a geographic area, there might have been a difference for young Mr. Vaughn. That's what brought this bill forward. Then we started doing research on this bill. There was a silver-haired amendment that went into the Amber Alert. We started talking to tribes. We have a tribal member that's going to testify in this, and we found there's a missing gap for missing and endangered people, that the state police working with the local communities should put out some sort of alert to put into public knowledge that we need some help. That's what this bill does. The amendment makes it better. It tries to bring in the Amber Alert work group with a different work group and actually makes the bill much better. And I'll hand it over to Senator Sollman to explain that.
Thank you so much. Chair Taylor, Vice Chair Bonham, and members of the committee, for the record, I'm Janine Sollman. I'm the state senator for Senate District 15, which includes areas of Forest Grove, Cornelius, Hillsborough, and the Rock Creek area of Washington County. I'm really proud to work with Representative Owens on this. This is an opportunity for me today just to talk to you about House Bill 2764A with the -5 amendment. Now, when I first heard that Representative Owens had a bill to create a statewide MEPA system, I was intrigued because I had recently worked with OSP to update their MEPA policy with a coordinated response in relation to a tragic case that occurred in my community. Earlier this session, we passed SCR 6 in honor of Ralph Davis Brown, a former state representative and former mayor of the city of Cornelius, who went missing when he drove off in his car one evening. Ralph suffered from an impaired memory loss, and his family members were unable to locate him. Turning to local law enforcement and the community, who, despite organizing a massive search effort, they were unable to locate Ralph or his car. So at the time of his disappearance, I got involved in the efforts to help locate him by calling Captain Fox at our Oregon State Police, who got on the ball right away and told me, I asked him, how can we put a message across the highway reader boards? And within hours, the information on Ralph's car was posted. But sadly, too many days had already passed since he went missing, and precious time had been lost. And I really started thinking about how this shouldn't be a process because you know somebody who helps you get that done. That should be a coordinated effort that goes out to all law enforcement, and they're able to get this information out in a timely manner. So when I reached out to discuss potential legislative action with OSP and ODOT, they came together last year to update the MIPA policy and disseminate information to law enforcement agencies on how they could get information for missing and endangered persons broadcast more widely and quickly. This bill, however, and its -5 amendment will help create a stronger statewide missing and endangered person system and will form a task force that can work alongside the Amber Alert system for efficiency and collaboration. Now, this will be done, the -5, this will be done through the Oregon State Police. There's a minimal fiscal on this, and the sooner that we actually get this done, the more people that we have the potential to save by sharing information broadly and immediately. Let's honor the legacy of Ralph Davis Brown by preventing more tragedies like this from happening. And I thank you, colleagues, and I just urge your support.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? I'm just curious, how will it work? How will the process work? So if you have a person, let's say someone potentially is having memory loss issues, which you hear about, and they leave a group home, or you have them at your own home or something, and someone wanders off or something like that, or if it's an actual criminal activity and someone's missing. So I would do what? I would call 911 first, and then I'm just curious, how will the process actually work?
The great thing about this bill is that Oregon State Police will form the task force to finish out what this actually looks like.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to have people a lot smarter than us trying to figure out to answer those specific questions. We didn't want to be very prescriptive because we actually went to professionals working on this.
Okay, so it's not just expanding the Amber Alert system. It's creating something different than the Amber Alert, or be tied to the Amber Alert?
Chair Taylor, thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for that question. What this bill does is there is a current system in place, and the coordinated effort that we worked on with ODOT and OSP was to make sure that when we call it the silver alert, or when somebody went through or an endangered somebody, a vulnerable individual. We saw this happen with a 12-year-old that took their family's car and drove off. And the sheriff in Washington County called me, and he said, "Thank you so much because of your efforts of making sure that we got all the details tied of what we can do and who we contact." That information went out on the reader boards. They were able to locate him in another friends or family's household. But they got to see how immediate that response was when they called, and they knew that this was going to work. So what this system does, yes, that happens. You would call 911 to alert. There's very, very specific circumstances that must happen if you were to get information regarding like a silver alert and such on reader boards. They have to have been in a car, and I believe that's even in an Amber Alert. They need to have disappeared in a car. That's why you'll see watch for this license plate, because otherwise you actually can lose federal dollars if you put misinformation or if you put other information on a reader board that's used across our highways in Oregon. So they're very stringent. That's why I was so proud OSP and ODOT were like, let's come together and get this solved. And I think the beauty of this bill is that it's just going to enhance and work with MIPA, work with Amber Alert, and it's just going to protect Oregonians in a more efficient, effective, saving lives.
No, that's great. I just was curious
Yeah,
about
Chair
that.
Taylor, if I might, just so this is an addition to the Amber and Silver Alert. So it will be add-on because there's a lot of requirements, like Senator Sollman said. In the Amber Alert, you have to have a suspect. That's not right. We have a lot of missing people. Then maybe there isn't a suspect involved. The silver hair, there's some very things that have to qualify. So this is just trying to expand this is all.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? Okay. Well, thank you. Yes,
Chair,
please.
I will just say that you don't have to just have silver hair. They call it a silver alert because it's all seniors. They may not have. So
Well, I qualify.
You too.
I had a lot of thoughts. I know what it meant, so I wasn't going to comment, but now that you've, called it out, so, okay, all right.
Thank you.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and call up Corinne Sams, or maybe online.
She's online. She's with
Hello,
Confederate
welcome.
Tribes.
Good morning. Hi, Tots Maywe. Good morning. My name is Corinne Sams, and I'm an elected member of the Board of Trustees of the Confederated Tribes of the Umatilla Indian Reservation. And the tribe urges you to support House Bill 2764 that will ultimately create an endangered missing persons alert system as a component of the Missing Children and Adults Clearinghouse, similar to the Amber Alert system. While this bill relates to endangered persons generally, it is broad enough to address MMIWP cases. In 2019, the legislature passed House Bill 2625, which directed the Oregon State Police to conduct a study focused on reporting, investigation, and response to incidents involving missing and murdered Native American women. A multidisciplinary work group was established that included 2 representatives from the CTUIR. Among the recommendations of the work group was to develop collaborative efforts and partnerships to work across jurisdictions, strengthening partnerships between law enforcement and tribal communities, and to provide education for Oregon's law enforcement officers covering MMIW issues. House Bill 2764 aligns with these recommendations. The creation of an alert system that tribes and state law enforcement agencies can use to promptly alert the public about missing endangered persons will make a difference. Oregon's system should be developed so that it will notify law enforcement when there's a report of a missing endangered person, place messages on highway reader boards, radio, and social media, as well as provide information to news media. As of January 2nd, 2023, 1,127 children were successfully recovered through the Amber Alert system. We expect similar success with the passage of this bill, and we commend the state of Oregon for being among the states at the forefront of this effort. For these reasons, the CTUIR strongly urges you to support House Bill 2764. And Makis Katsiauyau, a big thank you for your time and consideration today.
All right, thank you. Any questions? And we don't have anyone else signed up to testify in this particular bill. So I thank you again to the proponents, and we will go ahead and close a public hearing on House Bill 2764A. Now,